Please, I have PTSD.
Okay.
I'm starting to hear voices and stuff in my head.
Okay.
And
When did that start?
I told my mom. I told my mom that I've been like feeling like I was gonna break, and I was hearing voices maybe like a week and a half ago.
I'm so honest about it. I've been arrested for 26 violent
Oh
felonies.
my God.
All
Who
violent.
are you fighting?
Everyone. I love to fight. It's my favorite thing to do. That is my problem. And I'm one of those people that really stand
You
on
are
what
not
I
a true
believe.
light-skinned person because they
No, I'm
don't be
not.
trying to get dirty
Listen, I
and
am
fight.
light-skinned with dark-skinned tendencies.
Okay, I got you.
I don't act nothing like anybody else that look like me.
I
like
follow
to fight.
you.
I do all bad things on accident, but it's because I stand for things though. So
Okay, I can see that.
I'm gonna protect my family and my friends at all costs, no matter what that means for me.
This is Justin Wright, a 34-year-old music producer and songwriter out of Atlanta. On Mother's Day 2021, his 20-year-old girlfriend, Wana Bibs, was found shot dead inside his mother's house in Iowa. And when the police sat him down that same night and asked what happened, the first thing he did was point at his own mom. Before we get into that interrogation, we need to go back to the beginning, because neither one of these people just appeared out of thin air on May 9th. There is a full story here, and the warning signs go back years before Wana ever got on a plane to Iowa.
It's crazy to me how many people are already rich and they don't even know. Being rich is not about the amount of dollars that you accumulate. It's about how you live your life, how you treat other people, and the legacy that you leave behind after you go.
Justin Wright went by J. Wright in the music business, and the resume was real. He founded Camp Entertainment Worldwide in 2011 and grew it into a full music company working with some of the biggest names in hip-hop, including DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, Gucci Mane, Timberland, Bow Wow, Future, Nipsey Hussle, and Omarion. He had credits on Platinum Records, a verified social media page, and he had been connected to the industry since he was a kid. On paper, this man was doing it.
I got in the industry through R. Kelly. He
Dope.
grew up with my mom, and I
Dope.
just came in that way. He seen me doing some stuff. I started doing music when I was like 8 years old. So by the time I was like 12, he had caught wind of what I was doing.
Okay.
And he was like, man, dude, come to the studio. And I started writing songs.
That connection to R. Kelly is going to matter later in this story. Keep it in the back of your mind. What made Wright dangerous was that the same charisma that made people believe in him professionally was covering up something much darker at home. In a video interview that exists online, he sat on camera and admitted to having been arrested for 26 violent felonies involving women. And rather than being embarrassed about it, he laughed and said fighting was his favorite thing to do. He said it casually, like it was a personality quirk. The people in that room laughed too. Nobody stopped to ask what those felonies were about and the women on the other side of all those arrests. Because those women existed, and one of them had already been telling the truth for years before Wana ever met him. Ann Gachui is a former social media personality and the mother of Wright's daughter, Jayla. She spoke publicly in October of 2022 during Domestic Violence Awareness Month and described a level of abuse that is difficult to even sit with. She said Wright strangled her so severely that she suffered permanent damage to her vocal cords. Ann said he drugged her, held her inside his apartment against her will, and put a gun to her head. She had photos of bruises and medical records to back her story up. She also said that when she finally tried to leave him and take her daughter, he took the child from her and used that baby as a way to keep her in line. This was not a one-time blow-up. This was a pattern that had been going on for years, and most of the people around Wright either did not know or chose not to see it. Now let us talk about who Wana was, because she deserves more than just being called a victim. Wana Simone Bibs was from Durham, North Carolina, and when she was around 15 years old, her mother Cassandra moved the family to Atlanta looking for a better life. Wana took that move seriously and wanted to be a singer. She was building her music, putting out content, doing makeup and hair and nails on the side to make money while she worked toward her dream. She was one of those young women who just does not stop grinding no matter what the situation is.
She had a magnetic personality and that smile to die for it.
Everyone who knew Wana said the same thing about her. She was loyal to the people she loved and would go all in for her friends and her family, even when it wasn't in her own best interest. That kind of loyalty is one of the most beautiful things a person can have, and in the wrong situation, it becomes the very thing that puts them in danger. Wana met Wright in February of 2021 on a trip to Las Vegas where he was connected to a photo shoot through his industry network. He came at her with the same pitch he had used before. I can help your career. I can get you on radio. I can make your name mean something. She was 20 years old and wanted her shot. He was 31 with real credits. The offer felt genuine because on the surface it looked like it could be. What she did not fully know yet was that Ann Gachui, who was her friend and the person she was living with at the time, had already been in that exact same position with this exact same man. Ann says she warned Wana about who Wright really was. However, Wana chose to trust him anyway, and by the time she realized what she had walked into, getting out was a lot more complicated than it looked from the outside. After Wana moved into Wright's world in Atlanta, the relationship changed fast. Her car was already breaking down and eventually stopped working altogether, which meant she had to depend on him to get around. In a big city like Atlanta, a woman who cannot drive herself anywhere is a woman whose options are seriously limited when things get bad. Whether Wright engineered that situation on purpose or just let it stay that way, it worked in his favor. Her family described the relationship as mentally and emotionally abusive from early on. He monitored her location and made her feel responsible for managing his mood and his problems. According to Cassandra, he was also deeply jealous of how close Wana was with her family.
That relationship they had was toxic.
Cassandra says the couple fought and Wright was controlling.
I think that he might have been just a little bit jealous of the relationship we had because we always called her, we always checked on her.
That closeness was something outside of his control, and he spent a lot of energy trying to reduce it. By the end of April 2021, Wana had reached a breaking point, and around April 24th, the two of them got into a violent argument inside his car. It got bad enough that Wana jumped out of the moving vehicle and called her father Thomas Bibs. While she was on that phone call, Thomas could hear Wright in the background threatening her. He told Wana he would kill her father, and Thomas heard every word of it. The family moved quickly after that. They got Wana on a flight to Arizona to stay with her older sister, Jakisha. That was until Wright's mother got on the phone with her.
His mother, she talked to his mother sent her money back so she come back to Atlanta. So she was even in Arizona 2 days before she flew back to Atlanta. She, her mother said, his mother said that his cousin had a stroke or something like that, and he really needs you there with him at this time.
Wright's mother told Wana that Wright was struggling, that his family was going through a hard time, that a cousin had suffered a stroke and he really needed her. She put money in Walana's account for a return flight, and Wana, who had been in Arizona less than 2 weeks, got on that plane and went back to Atlanta. Cassandra made it very plain in her interview that Wright's mother was not a bystander in what happened. She was one of the direct reasons Wana kept returning every time she tried to get free. That fact matters because it explains a lot of what comes later when Wright sits down with the detective and starts building his version of events.
Around May 1st, Wright and Wana drove from Atlanta up to Davenport, Iowa to stay with his mother for a family gathering that included a birthday for one of his daughters. During that trip, Walana's location sharing was switched off, Cassandra had asked her to always keep it on so the family would know where she was and would not notice it until Mother's Day of 2021. On the morning of Mother's Day, May 9th, Wana sent her mother a text message saying she loved her and asking her to call when she had a chance. Then she called 4 times in a row. However, Cassandra was at work and could not use her phone, so she missed all of them. And when she tried to call back that afternoon, the line went to voicemail every time. She did not know it yet, but by then it was already too late. At 1:25 in the afternoon, Davenport police responded to a disturbance call at 1503 Calvin Street, Wright's mother's address. An argument had broken out between Wright and Wana over $70, and that is what it took for everything to blow up. Wana tried to get away from him, and as she was running, he shot her in the back. When the officers walked in, Wright was still on the property and had not gone anywhere. Officers found Walana's body in the garage, positioned between his mother's car and the door leading into the house. They immediately questioned everyone in that house on the spot. Wright's mother and stepfather both told officers separately that Wana was Wright's girlfriend and that she had come with him from Georgia. That put him directly in her life, in that house on that day, with no one else to account for what happened to her. Combined with the physical evidence at the scene, specifically the location of her body and the direction of the gunshot wound, investigators had what they needed. The affidavit described the killing as deliberate and premeditated, which is the legal standard for first-degree murder in Iowa. The police believed from the very beginning that Wright made a decision to kill her. He was arrested at the scene and charged with first-degree murder. Bond was set the following day at $500,000, cash only. He requested a court-appointed lawyer, told the court he had been living in hotels and that his belongings had been stolen. The man with the platinum records and the jewelry company and the downtown Atlanta condo could not make bail. That night, detectives sat Wright down for an interrogation that went on for hours to get an idea of what had happened in that house that afternoon. Wright talked the whole time about his daughter, his PTSD, his Marvel TV shows, his vegan cooking, a car wash he had been planning to visit. He had a detailed, calm explanation for everything. What he did not do was say anything that helped explain how Wana ended up dead in his mother's garage. When the detective finally revealed that the person found in the garage was someone Wright knew, he acted shocked.
Do you know who is Wana Bibs?
Wana is a girl that was Ann's friend that I was messing with for a second, and then I found out she was Ann's friend, and I stopped talking to her, and my mom really liked her, and they still be talking.
He said he had only been texting her that day about $1,200 she owed him, money that had come through on Apple Pay that afternoon. He said he had not seen her in person all day. And that is where the deflection started. He told the detective his mother really liked Wana, that they had been talking behind his back, staying in contact even after he and Wana fell out. He said his mother had even bought Wana a plane ticket at some point, something he figured out because when he first arrived in Iowa and asked his mother whether she had spoken to Wana recently, she said, "Why? I ain't got no money for no plane ticket," before he had ever mentioned a ticket. She slipped up and exposed herself. His own mother and stepfather had already told detectives separately that Wana was Wright's girlfriend and that she had come with him from Georgia. Wright denied it.
Both your mother and James are saying it's your girlfriend.
I don't have a girlfriend though. That's what bothers me, because I don't have a girlfriend.
And they're saying it's a girl that came with you from Georgia.
Then he spent the rest of that interrogation carefully, without ever raising his voice, building the suggestion that his mother had secretly brought Wana to Iowa without telling him. He framed it as something she had always done when he was struggling, bringing women around to cheer him up. He wasn't yelling or pointing fingers directly, he was just planting seeds, slow and deliberate.
And so Na is found in the
Can you call
garage.
it Willie, please? It'll make it easier for me to...
So Willie is found in the garage, and she's found between your mom's car and the entry door.
Wright had told detectives he went into that garage briefly to grab trash bags and peek out at what the officers outside were doing. He said it was dark there and he was not paying attention to anything. The detective laid out a simple problem.
If Wilana had been shot before Wright got home, as he was now suggesting, her body had been in that dark garage the entire time he was inside watching television with his 2-year-old. Wright had no answer for that.
Door.
What do you mean the entry door?
So the door into the house.
The actual garage or the door?
The door.
Mm-hmm.
So she's between that car and in that area between. I think she's back a little bit.
If she's back a little bit, it would make sense of why I couldn't see. But I wasn't looking for anything or him, because he literally was there with the garage door open.
And so, again, something I have to be able to explain though is Brittany calls 911 because something's going on in that house, and she said it was because you were arguing with your girlfriend, who she called Na. And
see, you said Nay earlier. I know.
That's just me being ignorant.
No, I understand.
Right?
I really don't know anybody named Nay. If you
Right.
if you would have said Nah or Willie from the beginning, I could have jumped straight into it. But I really don't know. I was started thinking about like my first girlfriend in high school. Her name was Janae. It's the only Nay I could think of.
And so, the big thing is though, is if Willie did come up here with you from Georgia, then she's been here for almost 9 days, right?
I don't
So
know how many days.
there's going to be other people that saw her up here as well.
For sure.
And if she was with you, there's going to be people that saw her with you.
For sure.
So now again is the time to talk about it. And so if she was not here with you, I'm telling you, if she was shot inside that house, it happened after you got home. And that quick, based on when the officers come.
It would have had to have happened before I got home, is what I'm trying to tell you. It would have had to. It would have 100% had to. 100%. I'm telling you, like, there's nothing more important to me than my daughter right now. Nothing.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and play with you guys, family or not. I'm not going to sit here and play with you guys about nothing. And I don't. If I'm sounding angry, it's not.
No, you're not sounding angry. I hope I'm not.
No, it's not even that. It's just like I know how I'm feeling right now, so I could come off aggressive in like this part of the cycle right now. So I'm just trying to give you a heads up.
So, when we do see those messages between you and Willie,
you'll see that.
Is there going to be more messages that are more? Is there going to be more messages than what we just talked about?
Not for today, not really. Just us talking about money.
What about let's just say the last month, because if you guys are in a relationship, there's communication that goes back and forth.
Like I said, there's communication back and forth, just here and there. Like she like what kind of threw me off the first time that I like was around her, she did shrooms and she started telling me she loved me and stuff like that, and that she was Jayla's real mom, and that creeped Ann out.
It's understandable.
Yeah, and that's why I said they started bumping heads, but they were the ones that were friends, and I was just there trying to, help Ann get on her feet.
Right. Has Willie ever been inside your car?
100 times, 1,000,000 times. It just.
When do you think the last time she was inside your car was?
I don't know. Maybe right before I came from Atlanta.
Right before you came?
A couple of days before.
Okay.
Maybe.
What were you guys doing?
I think we went to the grocery store.
Okay.
I think that when she came to get her stuff that day, we talked for a while and I cooked, and then she went on about her way.
Do you remember which grocery store you guys went to?
No. We probably went to a few, knowing me, because the stuff that I buy usually got to go to Kroger, Publix, and Walmart sometimes. So
right.
It probably was one of those. Probably the Kroger on Peachtree, right up the street from me.
Justin, if you can,
I'm sorry.
that route that you take up here,
Mm-hmm.
Do you have normal places that you stop and get gas? Or like certain towns? So I lived in Ohio for a little bit,
This was my first time driving this car up here, so I stopped in places I've never stopped before just because it burned gas different.
Do you remember any of the places that you stopped?
I'm sorry.
How do you usually pay for gas?
I was paying cash.
Cash?
Okay. I wish I wouldn't have right now.
Did you guys stop, or did you stop at any restaurants or anything on the way up? Where you would have gotten out and had to go inside, stretch your legs, anything like that?
I don't like to get out at places.
For the reasons we talked about?
Well, just Jayla is, like, the only time I really get out with Jayla is if I have to go inside and, like, see if they have a changing station. But even changing her, I change her in the car for the most part. So, like, I would just literally carry Jayla in, pay for gas, come right back out.
You mentioned a little earlier that last night you went to your grandma's house in Rock Island.
I'm not sure if it was last night. Like I told you before, I wasn't sure what day it was.
I think you said it was last night just because you said you and maybe your mom were running around, you had to pick up the car, etc., and that's why Jayla ended up staying up a little later than she normally does.
Yeah, but she's been up late for the last couple of days, so I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or, like I told you, my days have been blending.
Who lives in your grandma's house now?
Nobody. My cousin Pam that had the stroke was supposed to be moving in. They were remodeling everything so she could move in, but then she had the stroke.
Walana's mom, Wana Bibs, said that after Wana died, multiple other women came forward with stories that sounded almost identical. Wright would find young women who were trying to make it in music, offer to help them, get them in a situation where they were financially and emotionally dependent on him, and then turn the screws. He isolated them from the people who loved them and made sure leaving felt like the more dangerous choice. Cassandra also shared that Wright at some point had physically assaulted his own mother badly enough to put her in the hospital, hitting her in the head with a chair. The family connected all of this back to his time under R. Kelly. Wright confirmed that connection himself, describing Kelly as someone who took him in at 12 years old and taught him how the industry worked. Whether he picked up specific behaviors from Kelly or just developed his own version of the same thing, the way he operated around women matched a pattern the hip-hop community knows too well. An older man with power, a younger woman with a dream, and a slow process of breaking her down until she has nowhere else to go. On June 24, 2021, Wright entered a written not guilty plea through his attorney. The case sat in court for nearly 2 years before the trial finally started on March 27, 2023 in Scott County, Iowa. On April 10, 2023, after about 90 minutes of deliberation, the jury convicted Justin Wright of first-degree murder. On June 14, 2023, Judge Tamra Roberts sentenced him to life in prison without any possibility of parole. Under Iowa law, she had no other option once that verdict came in. At the sentencing, Thomas Bibs, Walana's father, stood up and called Wright the clown he had warned his daughter about and told the court that his child was killed over $70. Wana Bibs said the outcome was exactly what she had been hoping for. Wright sat there and said nothing. When his mother asked for one last moment with him before they walked him out, a deputy said no and took him away. Justin Wright is currently at Iowa State Penitentiary in Fort Madison, Iowa, serving life without parole. What do you think about this case? Do you think Walana set herself up to die when she accepted to fly back to Iowa? Let me know in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.